Hey everyone, I'm Trudy, One Grounded Angel, here to talk to you about what's in the angel cards for this week, January the 25th through to the 31st, 2021. Can't believe it's the last week of January already. So we have a full moon happening this week on Thursday in the sign of Leo, and it's very exciting because it coincides with a very fortuitous astro alignment between the Sun and the Jupiter. And when they hook up, it's good. It only happens once a year, but it means good things are on the way for us. We can expect, we'll be optimistic about new opportunities opening up. So the fact that that is happening next to a full moon means, you know, a lot of expansion and I guess doors opening towards what we want to be creating if we've done the work in terms of setting those intentions and working towards what we want. So I'll start shuffling now for Monday. Hopefully we get some guidance on getting back on track and making sure we're moving in the right direction. Monday's card is friendship. This is such an Aquarius card or message because Aquarius is, well, amongst other things, a sign of collaboration and cooperation. And this idea here is about making sure that we are really thinking about the community. Are we doing things for others? Are we asking others for help? Are we helping others? Or are we keeping things to ourselves and trying to handle it all by ourselves? Is there something going on in our friendship circle that we are brushing under the carpet to because it's too hard to deal with? For example, is there a toxic dynamic at play that's, oh, too hard basket, I'll deal with that later? And this will be pushing you to be accountable and actually do something about that. I think what happens in friendships, and I've certainly done this myself, is we tend to let memories tell the story. Oh, we've got so many memories, I'm not going to create a scene and you know, disrupt the harmony of what we've been through, etc., tarnish those memories. But you know, people do change and dynamics change, we outgrow people. It's okay to let go of friendships if we need to. So holding on to a friendship that does not serve you anymore, that you've outgrown, just for the sake of memories, is not a particularly healthy approach. So yeah, looking at our friendships there, maybe it's a good day, if none of those messages resonate, to just ring a friend you haven't caught up with for a while. Maybe organise to meet up if that's possible, or do a Zoom date if that's, you know, geography's an issue. Yeah, really celebrating those really strong connections, or maybe connections that used to be strong but you've maybe not had enough time to invest in of late. Tuesday's card is Artemis, the Guardian. You and your loved ones are safe and spiritually protected. So safety is one of the cornerstones of my work as an energy healer, because when we don't feel emotionally safe, that leads us to adopt behaviors which aren't particularly healthy, such as trying to control people, trying to control situations, trying to control ourselves, holding ultra high expectations for ourselves in terms of perfectionism. We can be insecure about our bodies, we can be insecure about our place in the world. Safety is huge, and I know, well, for me personally, when I first heard about the idea of safety, I went straight to physical safety in terms of, you know, worried about crime, etc. It's not really about that in spiritual sense, although that can of course be a factor. It's really about knowing that you're safe to be yourself, to be authentic, to do the things that you want to do, to be different, to trust the people that you know you can trust instead of second guessing them, waiting for, you know, holding the expectation that your relationship's about to fall apart at any minute. So safety stuff is huge for all of us. Actually, it just shows up in different ways. And this card is reassuring you that you are safe and that your loved ones are safe as well. So quite a reassuring message there. Let's go on with Wednesday, the 27th of January. Optimism. I'm chuckling because that alignment I mentioned between the Sun and Jupiter is a very optimistic one. It's all about enhancing the positive thoughts that we have and challenging us to be very optimistic. But also, I would say, the full moon's happening in Leo, which is a very optimistic sign as well. So we've got a lot of energy here reassuring us that, okay, things are hard. Let's not ignore the fact that we're in the middle of a pandemic. Well, I hope it's the middle. Goodness, who knows where we are. And it's really hard to be optimistic because we don't know how this is going to play out. We don't know how long it's going to last. We don't know whether we're getting anywhere in this or what our future is going to look like. We don't feel very safe for obvious reasons. But they're asking us to hold on to hope and to be optimistic about the future. And that's really, really important. And there's good cause for optimism. So optimism does not mean pretending things are perfect when they're not, pretending things are wonderful when they're not. We must still hold space to acknowledge our unpleasant feelings, or the feelings that don't fit into that the end of the spectrum, which is all, you know, rainbows and butterflies. We need to acknowledge our feelings and sit with them and process them. But we can't, optimism is about, not getting away from the fact that there is still space to be hopeful. And even though things are crappy now, holding space for that possibility that they're not always going to be that way. It is not the sort of toxic positivity that I'm talking about with that card. So I've gone with Thursday here, expecting miracles. So the Thursday Sun and Jupiter conjunction or meetup is often called the Day of Miracles. So this is great. All about expecting or holding on to hope that things can happen that are beyond the realm of possibility. We've all had experiences in our lives where things that seemed totally unlikely or perhaps even hopeless have actually worked out, and we don't know how that happened. And it's not for us to try and understand really, but there is always much more capable or possible than what we can possibly imagine. And that's what the universe is reminding us here, that we can only ever see this much of the puzzle and there is so much more possible. So hold space for possibility and believe that miracles can happen. Don't try and, don't try and let disappointment over the past take an overly cloudy perspective in your life. And that's not to say you should pretend or erode disappointment or pretend that things weren't bad. It's just to say that just because things haven't worked out for you before doesn't mean they're not going to work out for you in the future. Friday's card is relationship, and whenever this card comes up, the first thing I draw people's attention to is the fact that this angel and unicorn are coming out of the woods. I try and fit as much Taylor Swift references in as I can, it seems, lately, but the song Out of the Woods comes to mind. It is about coming out of a dark, challenging place in a relationship. It doesn't have to be your romantic relationship, although that's what the card is about, of course. It could maybe be a family relationship, a sibling, maybe a close friend even. And it's about saying things are going to get better. However, what we need to remember with that is that things don't usually get better by themselves. Sometimes we have to do what we can to help with that process. So if our hope is that things will get better without our intervention, it might be asking us to, maybe we need to actually have a conversation about what's happening and get some support from friends. I don't know, I'm just throwing things out here. Making sure we are playing our part is always really, really important in this work. But again, we can be optimistic about the future. So now I know that some of you will be watching this going, I don't know if this is true for me. And of course, there will be relationships that will come out of the woods, but into a different kind of light. It doesn't mean that things are going to get better in a way. Sometimes the getting better part doesn't look like it's getting better because something happens to end things or a new thing comes along. And that is the exit for you, that is things getting better, even though it won't feel like it. An example for me would be, I was in a job where I was completely stressed out, overwhelmed, not coping, not doing a particularly good job, and then I got made redundant or retrenched. And that was not much fun. I felt rejected, I was really upset, it was terrifying for my economic situation, but it turned out to be a good thing. It brought me to the end of that chapter, and that is what I needed because I was struggling to let go on my own. That doesn't mean I love the way it happened. I wish it had happened on my own terms and I had something else lined up to go to, but it happened the way it needed to happen. So that painful end turned out to be a wonderful beginning of a new chapter. So what I'm saying is, if something comes to an end, that doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to be all doom and gloom. And that's not to take away from the pain of that incident, and you must let yourself feel that pain. But maybe the coming out of the woods into the light looks like you're actually going into more darkness. It could be deceiving. Now, if you are single, I should mention, because this is primarily about romantic relationships, this might be about you coming out of the woods and into a better position in terms of your relationship with yourself. And we know, if you've delved into spirituality, you will know this as well, that your relationship with yourself has a direct correlation with your relationships with other people. So I know a lot of people will say you've got to love yourself before you can love someone else or let someone love you. I personally am not a massive fan of that train of thought, because I think building our relationship with ourselves is an ongoing process, and maybe we'll never truly arrive at a place of self-love. But as long as we're investing in ourselves and trying to support ourselves, encourage ourselves, be good friends to ourselves, that's pretty good, and that's going to have a positive influence on the sorts of people that you attract. So don't feel like you need to aim to be, passionately in love with yourself. That's not necessarily the aim, but working on your relationship with yourself will absolutely have positive influences on, the relationships you have with other people, because the way you treat yourself sets the tone for how you will be treated by others. If you're not respecting yourself, setting boundaries, practicing self-care, you're really making a statement about your value, or what you perceive your value to be. And that's, other people will pick up on that energy. So Saturday's card, shield yourself. Oh my goodness, I think we must have a card or a version of this message at least once a month. But everybody needs to be reminded that our energy is sacred. It needs to be protected. And there are several ways we do that. I just mentioned boundaries, that's a good one. Setting boundaries against toxic people, really, really important. Please don't fall into the trap of thinking that you have to be nice to toxic people or spend time with them, that's an act of service or kindness. It's really not. Setting boundaries and staying away from those people is maybe the best thing you can do, because then you're not enabling their behavior and you are protecting yourself, which is the most important thing ultimately. So shielding yourself is also, as I said, about it's making choices, good choices about how you spend your time, where you spend your time. It's also about shielding your energy in an energetic sense. And many of you will know how to do this, because I've talked about it so many times. All you need to do is every morning ask Archangel Michael to place you in a protective bubble of light. This is so, so, so important if you are an empath, if you are sensitive to other people's energies. You do not want to be walking through the world collecting everybody's moods, everybody's energy, everybody's toxicity. It will leave you completely exhausted by the end of the day and unable to do the things that you want to do for yourself. So this is pretty fundamental self-care. Shield yourself. And shuffling the cards now for Sunday. Cleanse your energy. Sort of related to what I just said about how sensitive our energy field or our aura, whatever term you like to use, is. And it's really important to clear that. So you might like to clear, these two work in concert, clearing down what you've picked up and then shielding yourself from taking on anything else. Water is the best thing ever, honestly. Particularly salt water. Bathing in Epsom salts is a good way to cleanse your energy. Swimming in the ocean, even being around the ocean, because the salt spray can be really wonderful. Flotation therapy is fantastic. I'm such a massive fan of flotation therapy. If you haven't heard of it, Google it. But honestly, it's the best. May not be available in smaller sort of localities, but if it is available, I definitely recommend it. It's basically like an Epsom salts bath in a way. What else can you do to cleanse your energy? Being in nature. I knew there was something. Yeah, being in nature is really important and helpful. Being around things that are growing, it just has such a powerful impact, because nature is vibrating at a certain rate, and so we're vibrating at a certain rate. I would also say crystals can be great. I'm not a crystals expert, so I can't tell you much, except I do know clear quartz is a good one for clearing. And because it's a full moon actually this week, you might like to put your crystals out on a windowsill that attracts or is going to collect that lunar energy. I just thought of something else and it's gone. Oh, sound healings can be really good, like the gong clearings, crystal bowls, all those sorts of things. Some yoga studios offer that. So let's look at the week. What have we got going on here? I think we've got a lot of positive hope-based messages here with that beautiful optimism and expecting miracles. I think that would be one of the strongest things that comes through. And yeah, looking after our energy field. Sounds super weird, I know, because can't see it, don't really know where it is. Talking about the energy field sounds super weird, but it is really important because it influences our well-being, our emotions, our belief system, the way we show up in the world. It's really important to clear your energy and make sure that you are not taking on board other people's energy. Also influences our physical energy, the energy that we have to get through the day, our motivation, etc. If we're connected to a whole lot of other people's heavy energies, it's really hard to go through your life, being motivated, having energy for the people that you love, and doing the things that you want to do, practicing your self-care. So I think that probably sums it up quite well. I'll say goodbye now. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram if you're not already, at One Grounded Angel. And of course, I'm on Facebook, One Grounded Angel. If you want to know more about my work, the energy healing, where I do one-on-one sessions with people to clear the energy field, to clear out the traumas that have taken hold there from past lives, this lifetime, childhood. Sometimes even if we don't know the cause, we can clear away those sort of blocks that you've taken on board, including limiting beliefs around, feeling that you're not good enough, or feeling that bad things always happen to you, or whatever limiting beliefs are going on there, anything maybe that's blocking you from being optimistic about your future. I can certainly help with that. So look me up, www.onegroundedangel.com. There's a tab called What I Do, which will tell you more. Thanks everybody for being here. Have a great week and enjoy this great energy that's coming through. We need it. We need some good vibes coming through. So let's lap it up. Take care.